Welcome to Alta Survival. This is part 3 in the series, Top 10 Considerations for Bunkering In. In part 1, we covered the main purpose of bunkering in and how to avoid being a target of hostile and desperate groups. In part 2, we covered security, cooking during grid down, light discipline, and noise discipline. In this final part, we're going to cover trade and barter items, heating and cooling your home during grid down, deciding who to help with necessities during a societal collapse, and signs that it's time to bug out. During a societal collapse, traditional currency may lose value, making bartering one of the main ways to obtain necessary goods. The best barter items are those that are high in demand, difficult to produce, and have a universal appeal. Here's a list of some of the best items to trade. These essential consumables will be high value because they're used daily and they'll be scarce during a crisis. Clean water is always a top priority. In the past, we've shown some aqua tabs and water purification processes along with water filters, and I'll add a link to those here. Protein sources like beans, rice, pasta, and MREs are good trade and barter items. Salt, sugar, and spices are essential for preserving food and improving the taste of food. Chocolate is a morale booster and a valuable trade item also. Coffee and tea. We're not coffee drinkers, but if you are, that's going to be a hot item to trade. No pun intended. Medical and hygiene supplies. Medical care will be limited, making these items extremely valuable. Over-the-counter medications like pain relievers, ibuprofen, Tylenol, antihistamines, and antibiotics are also going to be valuable items to trade. So gauze, medical tape, antiseptics. If you have any extra first aid kits, my medic has some great first aid kits that you could keep on hand. Cleanliness prevents disease, so you'll want to have a lot of soap and hand sanitizers. Toilet paper and baby wipes are going to be huge trade items. Feminine hygiene products. Nutrition may be lacking in a survival situation. My Patriot supply has a product called Ready Hour, which has something called Survival Shot, which is a chewable ready response vitamin and mineral supplement. I'll leave a link to that too. Let's keep moving down the list of trade and barter items. In the category of tools and survival gear, we have things like lighters and waterproof matches. Fire starting is critical. So maybe having a batch of those amazing 15-minute burn fire starters that we made in a previous video. Light sources for grid down situations are going to be good barter items. Knives and multi-tools are always useful for self-defense and survival tasks. Fishing gear and traps for sustainable food gathering. Ammunition will be extremely valuable, but trade with caution. Rope, paracord, and bank line are essential for repairs, shelters, and other survival needs, as well as duct tape fixes almost anything. Batteries and solar chargers will be essential for the radios, flashlights, and other devices. Okay, clothing and warmth items. Wool blankets and sleeping bags. Staying warm is a survival priority, right? Gloves and boots. Even though they're durable, these clothing items are going to wear out over time. Thermal underwear and socks. Cold weather is deadly without the proper gear. Security and self-defense. Firearms. In some cases, if it's a trusted group, you can trade those. They are high value, but they are dangerous to trade. Pepper spray and other self-defense weapons. Non-lethal options will be valuable. Check out the link to the Comm pepper spray items that we've shown before. Extra holsters and magazines. Any firearm accessories will be needed by those who carry. In a long-term collapse, skills become as valuable as physical items because people will need expert services. Things like basic first aid, wound care, and minor surgery knowledge. Fixing engines, vehicles, and machinery. Food procurement will be key. Making and fixing tools. Knowledge of growing crops and raising livestock. Also making and repairing clothing and footwear. Let me mention a few items that are not good for trade and barter. Some items might seem useful, but could pose really high risks. Things like gold and silver, especially early on. While these are useful in the long run, in an immediate crisis, food and supplies are far more valuable. Firearms. Firearms aren't recommended to trade with strangers. Trading weapons to unknown individuals can backfire. Protect your personal information. Don't let people know what you have stockpiled. Let me give some final tips for bartering. I said it already, but don't reveal your full stockpile or your wealth of goods. Diversify to match different needs. Don't collect all of one item, but have a variety of things that you can trade and barter. Assess the value of what you're getting in return. In this scenario, bartering will be a survival tool. So stock up wisely and stay aware of market demands as conditions change. During the winter, it's crucial to limit heating to a small designated area rather than attempting to warm your entire home. Even if you have a propane tank or a stockpile of firewood, conserving fuel is essential. By confining heat to a specific space and blocking off unused areas, you maximize efficiency and extend your fuel supply. Fuel sources should be used judiciously, whether it's propane, generators, or firewood. While generators can provide heat, they are noisy and consume fuel quickly. A better approach is to minimize the amount of firewood or fuel needed by maintaining a practical but not excessive temperature. Instead of striving for complete comfort, focus on merely taking the edge off the cold and dressing warmly to compensate. Conservation not only applies to heat, but also to essential resources like food and water. Rationing firewood just as you would food ensures long-term sustainability. In contrast, summer presents different challenges. Naturally, ventilation is necessary, and opening windows can improve airflow. However, this also introduces a security risk. If cooling is required, one effective method is to dampen sheets, not soaking wet but sufficiently moist, and hanging them over open windows. As the wind passes through, it creates a cooling effect inside the home. Historically, people have managed without air conditioning, but surviving in extreme cold without heat is far more difficult. In an extremely harsh climate, maintaining warmth is a necessity, not a luxury. While keeping cool in the summer is important, security remains a priority. Open windows make a home more vulnerable to intruders. So if the situation is unstable, it's vital to balance ventilation with safety measures. Deciding who to help with necessities during a societal collapse is a delicate balance between morality, self-preservation, and security. While helping others can strengthen community bonds, it can also put you at risk if done carelessly. Let's talk about how to approach it wisely. Your first priority is your inner circle. Before extending help to others, ensure that your immediate family, close friends, and mutual assistance group members are secure. If your resources are limited, giving away too much too soon can leave you vulnerable. Food, water, medical supplies, and security must be covered. Only help if it won't jeopardize your survival. First, make an assessment of those that are asking for help. Not everyone who's going to ask for help will be trustworthy. Be cautious of desperate people who may become a future threat. Here are some red flags to watch out for. If they demand help instead of asking, they know too much about what you have, they show up repeatedly asking for more, they refuse to contribute or trade anything in return, they're aggressive and travel in a large group. Here are some green flags to look out for. They offer to trade instead of just taking. They have useful skills like medical, mechanical, farming, and security. They're accepting of reasonable limitations on what you can provide. They show their gratitude for you being willing to barter, and they don't return frequently. You want to be able to help without making yourself a target in the process. If you decide to help, do it in a way that minimizes risk. Never reveal your full stockpile and how well prepared you are. Give enough to help, but not enough to make them dependent. If possible, avoid bringing them to your home or your base. A barter system discourages people from viewing you as a free resource, so offer something for trade. If people see you giving, others will come. Word spreads fast in desperate times. Ways to strengthen your community. While some believe in a lone wolf strategy, a small, strong, and trustworthy community increases long-term survival odds. Help those with skills that can improve group survival, like medics, farmers, hunters, mechanics. Build alliances with neighbors or other survivors for mutual protection. Encourage self-sufficiency rather than dependency. Teach people to purify water, grow their own food, or make fire instead of giving handouts. Set clear boundaries. If you can't help, be firm. I'm sorry, I don't have anything extra. If you do help, make it clear that it's a one-time thing. Have a backup plan if someone turns hostile. Don't assume that gratitude will last forever. The harsh reality of this is that you can't save everyone. Helping the wrong people can cost you everything. Some people take advantage of kindness and come back with more demands and threats. If the collapse lasts long term, you may have to make hard choices between helping others and keeping your family alive. The key to helping in a collapse situation is balancing compassion with caution. Be selective, be smart, and never make yourself a target. It's good to help, but only when it's safe to do so. I understand that if you're a kind, generous person, you're going to want to be able to help people. If that's who you are now, it's not going to change in a disaster. So maybe some alternative ideas are put together a big pot of soup that you can share with people at a designated spot around the corner from your house. Put together some small packets of food that you could trade, barter, or even share if you have enough to go around. And then have some security lined up to help you throughout this process. Don't try to do it alone. Make sure you have someone to watch your back. Early on, I mentioned that we would talk a little bit about bugging out and when to do so. If there's a structural collapse or a fire, if your home's severely damaged and compromised, staying isn't safe. If looters, gangs, or desperate people begin targeting your area, it may become time to leave. If food or water or medical supplies are critically low and there's no way to resupply, then relocation is necessary. Forced evacuations, confiscations, or oppressive controls could make it hard to survive at home. If illness starts spreading and medical help isn't available, moving to a safer location is a priority. Floods, wildfires, radiation, a chemical spill are all things that can make staying put impossible. Again, for most people, bugging out is not going to be the first priority, but you do need to have a strategy in case it's necessary. So have a predetermined bug out location. This could be a family cabin, a rural property, or a friend's safe house. Ideally, it should be remote, defensible, and already stocked with supplies. Have multiple routes planned to get to the location. Have bug out bags prepared. Each family member should have a 72-hour bag with essentials, things like water bottles, purification tablets, water filters. For food, you should have MREs, energy bars, dehydrated meals, like the items from my Patriot supply. Medications, trauma supplies, like my Medic's first aid kits that we've talked about before. Lighters, waterproof matches, a ferro rod, a tent, a tarp, an emergency blanket. So for self-defense, you're gonna need your firearm, a knife, possibly pepper spray. You need clothing and protection. You need weather-appropriate gear, along with gloves, dust mask, your navigation tools, maps, compass, a GPS device, and your bartering items. So here you want to choose meeting points in case family members get separated. Have backup communication methods like walkie-talkies, ham radios, satellite phones, and have prearranged signals or codes for silent communication. Keep your vehicle fueled up at all times. Have emergency gear inside, tools, spare gas, a repair kit, and a spare tire. Off-road capable vehicles are ideal for avoiding congested roads. Designate enough practice and time for your escape plan. Run drills with your family to ensure quick response times. Know your alternative routes in case of roadblocks or danger. Avoid major highways. Stick to back roads, trails, and railways if necessary. Blend in and keep a low profile. Avoid looking like a prepared survivalist. Desperate people target those with supplies. Travel at night if possible and avoid drawing attention to yourself. Keep your weapons concealed but ready to use if needed. Again, bugging out should be a last resort. Bunkering in is usually safer. However, if conditions deteriorate, having a well-planned escape strategy can be the difference between survival and disaster. Stay aware, stay prepared, and be ready to move if necessary. Be vigilant and stay ready, and check out more videos from Alta Survival.